Happy Friday, fellow FanDuelers, and let's get ready for week 9 of the FanDuel slate. I already did a preview earlier in the week. Hopefully, y'all caught that video, which helped y'all started y'all week on what y'all want to prep for. Obviously, a lot since then, a lot has changed. Injury news, trade news. Not really much talk about the trade news. The only thing I'll bring up with the biggest fantasy impact of that would be TJ Hawkinson moving to Minnesota. Irv Smith has a severe ankle injury, high ankle sprain. That's looking like it's going to be a 1 to 2 month injury. So I think TJ Hawkinson is going to get even more of a consistent volume. The problem with TJ Hawkinson was he had like 1 or 2 boom weeks so far, maybe just one, and then you just get these like three or four maybe for like 30, 40 something yards. And I think with the way Minnesota is emphasizing throwing the ball more than just passing, I think we're going to get more of a consistent TJ Hawkinson. So that's the big thing. So TJ Hawkinson, even though he might, he's never going to be over like 6,500, he's just one of those guys that, that will consistently be in the high fives, very low sixes. But I really think that TJ Hawkinson going to Minnesota is a big thing. This week 62, so yeah, low sixes. So, I mean, if he starts to boom and stay consistent, he could get himself up there. I don't ever remember in his young NFL career ever being around 7,000, maybe 65 top. But on Minnesota, he can get there. Because Irv Smith was playing a decent role there, and TJ Hawkinson definitely probably even more skilled than Irv Smith. So those targets will definitely go to him. If we look at Irv Smith, obviously, on IR, probably won't be back until we're looking at definitely December because they said his minimum time with this ankle sprain is 4 weeks. So we're already in November. So we're probably talking about mid-December, maybe right before the season ends. We're talking about that range. They say 4 to 8 weeks. Maybe if it heals properly and everything like that, he's probably looking at 6 weeks. But they're definitely looking at a month being gone. So he won't be back in November at all. But he hasn't had any boom weeks or anything like that. But when you look at once again, I've been bringing it up more and more. When you go with these low owned guys, you gotta trust the targets. And Irv Smith, from after only having 2 opening week against Green Bay, he's had 8 targets, 6 targets, 4 targets, 5 targets, 4 targets, 4 targets, and yes, he got lucky 1 week, week 2 against Philly with a touchdown, scored 12.1. Irv Smith, he's gonna stay low. I think the highest Irv Smith's been all year is 5,500. So, like I said, with an even more explosive, even more skilled TJ Hawkinson getting that consistent role, TJ Hawkinson is definitely looking at, some slight upside. Or I think a lot of people will be excited to play TJ Hawkinson this week. With the injury news, there's a whole bunch of injuries. First off, the Bucks defense. I think the Bucks in general, I think it's 2 defensive players and 1 offensive lineman are not going to dress this week. Charges are very thin at wide receiver. Both Keenan Allen's hamstring. Keenan Allen is trending to be on some type of IR because that hamstring is definitely an issue. I think it's trending that way. I know the news is that he's out and he suffered a setback, but I think he's nearing the Michael Thomas issue where if that hamstring doesn't get right, they might have to rule him out of the season. But he's definitely way too skilled. So I think the Chargers are gonna just be patient as they can and do what they can with the rest of their high-power weapons. But yeah, both Allen and Williams are both out against the Falcons. So DeAndre Carter and Joshua Palmer. I think Joshua Palmer is definitely progressing. I think I don't know if he's already cleared, but he's definitely trending to play. And DeAndre Carter's already there. And then you're gonna look at their tight end as well, who's probably Gerald Everett. He's probably going to play a bigger role, but obviously the biggest boost is most likely going to go to Austin Eckler with his impact on the passing game. So definitely look for, at least for what he regularly does, maybe look for 3, 4, maybe even 5 extra at least targets. Can't say receptions, but at least targets. Because most of his passes, sometimes, yes, he catches screen passes, but he likes to do a little triangle, go out to the flat, then make a sharp cut with his left foot in the ground, and then cut inside on the most of the time it's the left outside linebacker, which is the side that he likes to go to. Other than that, man, I know it's sad for me, but it sucked that my boy Michael Thomas. I spoke highly about him week one. I thought he was in store for a big comeback season. I spoke about him highly. He showed a quick burst for a couple of weeks, and especially that one game that he had. But Michael Thomas, with a apparently it's not even an ankle, it's a dislocated toe, which is why he couldn't get no stability or no boost out of his cuts and everything. So he's IR, he's out of the year. I pretty much see like that gonna be a situation where they have to move on. It's way too much money for him to literally be out 3 years in a row. They like what they have in Chris Olave, and then they still have some of the young guys that they had developed last year that developed in Michael Thomas' absence. So it's a sad thing. Like I said, it was him, ATN, and Ronald Moore that I spoke up about the most. But dislocated toe, I think one of those last years with Drew Brees, it was an extension on top of what he already had. So I think unless they come out to some type of, I think it's a total of 6 years, and he's literally only played maybe a year and a few games out of that since signing that contract. So pretty much the last 3 years, I think Michael Thomas has probably, I don't even think in the last 3 years Michael Thomas has even had a total of a season played. That's how bad the injuries had. First with the bad ankle, and now with the toe injury. It's just, yeah, man, the man's foot is just not there. It's definitely sad to see, but you know, things gotta move on, and yeah, it sucks for Michael Thomas. But obviously he's not on the slate. But hey, for you fantasy people, definitely look at some of the other wide receivers. Other injury news for the main slate. I mean, the Michael Thomas news was just big. I had to say that. I'm a big Michael Thomas fan. But on top of that, Corey Davis out for the Jets. Jonathan Taylor, I didn't think he was going to play. That's not a sprain. It was kind of like a twisted ankle because of the way he fell and got grabbed. That's not a sprain. For people think that's a sprain, no, it was more described as a twist. So that's a little something different. So I don't think we're seeing. Like I said, the Colts are bad. They won't be fine for no playoffs. No need to rush him back. You ask me, twisted ankle, and he tried to come back. Trying to come back off an injury and then leaving the game early, going back in and out, that's more like a setback, just not the worst setback. Keep him out for 2 weeks. Me personally, if anything, keep him out to December. I don't know, for that ankle to be totally healthy. You don't need anybody on a nagging injury, and then he could get surgery after the season, but if he keeps running on it, but why even just risk that? Just let him have natural wear and tear instead of cutting it open and everything like that. So Colts, so he's out. And then, of course, there's minor pieces that are very interesting with being out. For instance, on the wide receiver side, once again, we got Corey Davis. Devontae Parker for New England's out. Johan Dotson for Washington's out. That's big. So look for more targets to Curtis Samuel and Scary Terry McLaurin. In other developments, I was kind of shocked to see this. Obviously, this is definitely trending to be downgraded to out with final walkthroughs on Saturday. Today was more like practice, mostly on Fridays. But Josh Reynolds with a back injury, that was kind of shocking or whatever. So definitely look for Khalif Raymond to step up a little bit. There's a lot of value that has opened up quite a bit. A lot of deep GPP play that has opened up quite a bit here in this week's slate. And yeah, those are the main injuries. Like I said, Keenan Allen with the setback in the hands. Obviously, Jamal Chase is already out. Cooper Kupp, I knew Cooper Kupp was going to be fine. Cooper Kupp was more like a slight roll, like a slight tweak or whatever, instead of fully rolling the ankle. So I was never worried about Cooper Kupp at all not playing this game. So I'm not surprised that he doesn't carry an injury designation, especially the way these guys are going to take care of him and let him rest. Oh, and maybe 2 more pieces of injury news. DeAndre Swift, man, I don't think he's ever going to be 100%. I think whenever you want to play DeAndre Swift in DFS, or if you got him in season-long fantasy, you're going to have a 80 to 90%. If he gets 90%, DeAndre Swift, still dealing with the ankle, still dealing with a banged-up shoulder. Possibilities he could be ruled out. He's been questionable all week, hasn't improved. Like I said, he will never be healthy to not have that injury tag. So, hey, play Swift at your risk. But for the key news for people who are thinking about DeAndre Swift, They all say they are easing him back in with his load. I mean, he's dealing with two nagging injuries, so you can't just full force his way back into the fold. So Jamal Williams definitely a big play against Green Bay. Deontay Foreman is looking for another big heavy workload because Chuba Hubbard was ruled out. The interesting news, I personally don't think he's going to play, but Cordero Patterson is actually showing something where he's eligible. He's in the eligible window to be ruled back in off IR, but they're waiting till Saturday to officially rule him out. So that means he's got to be showing something in practice or something in like private warm-ups, weight rooms, something that has the Falcons coach Arthur Smith thinking that he could possibly wait till Saturday. So Cordero Patterson coming back in, that's definitely that's definitely big news. It definitely knocks down Tyler Algier and probably boosts up even more Mariota because those guys will probably be running the option and Cordero will probably even see some screen passes. Who knows? He's been out of action for a while. He's basically hasn't played in a month, so the body has healed up a bit. Don't know about the injury, of course, but the way they run that offense, he's definitely somebody that if he's coming off IR, definitely look for him. Definitely look for him to really be a focal point. I don't think they lightly put him in there. He's looking at probably 18 touches. 18 touches meaning combined pass. I think it's 15 to 18 touches combined pass and run. So that's pretty much it there. And yeah, that's pretty much it with the injury news. I think I've covered mostly the important stuff for the slate and everything like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and I guess I'll go more into the Jonathan Taylor. I'll go more into the Jonathan Taylor thing. With Jonathan Taylor out, there's that opens a ton of value because all his backups are in the fives. I think if I take a look at this property, the most expensive guy might be Philip Lindsay. Without searching up, might be 53, 54. No, not even. Not even. They all expect to play a role. So, Naheem Hines is gone in Buffalo. So that adds more complexity to that backfield. But in the Indianapolis backfield under Jonathan Taylor, the next person up would be Deion Jackson at 5,000. Then it's Zach Moss at 56, and Lindsey. All these guys are expected to be on the roster. Now, obviously, Deion Jackson is going against, which is a top 5. I think they're even a top 3 run defense against running backs. So hopefully, Deion Jackson makes up for that in the past because the last time he had a full workload like that, Deion Jackson had like 23 FanDuel points on, and the main reason why he got there was 10 receptions on 76 yards. 10 receptions, full point or half point PPR, that's a lot of points. And then of course somebody as speedy as Jackson could get out the backfield and could do a lot with the ball in open space. But it's a little crowded. Like I said, Phil Lindsay got called back up with the practice squad. I think when you get called back up 3 times, you have to be on the team. You can't get sent back down to switch things out. So I guess when Jonathan Taylor finally comes back, they're going to have to deal with having 4 running backs, I guess. Well, I mean, I guess they got the room now that Naheem Hines is out the way. So, yeah, they got a lot of value. There's quite a bit of value that has opened up. You got to figure out where you want to do it. And, yeah, there was one more bit of piece of news. One that I'm personally interested in because if he's healthy, it is a risk because I'm like, damn, this looked like the kind of thing like you're waiting to play Darren Waller and he can literally, like, do something after going like 3 for 43. Like, okay, this is a decent start, and then like pull up laying on a hamstring or something like that. But the latest on Darren Waller, like I said, you gotta look out for more walkthrough news because then that's when they really wanna. That's why they really wanna rule people out or check to see if they can at least hang on to the person before actually run them out before game time. But the last thing was that Darren Waller still questionable. He practiced limited all week, so he has to have that one standout day where he's showing some burst. McDaniels did say that Waller is trying to work hard. He's anxious to get back on the field, but if his body's not letting him go, they're gonna at least have to. They're gonna have to at least know that off the top of their head that they're gonna have to let that guy rest. If they're planning on at least making some type of wild card run, forget division run. If they're trying to make a wild card run, it definitely helps if you have somebody like Darren Waller there. It's somebody who I want to play. It's definitely somebody who I want to play. I definitely see a lot of having two big athletic bodies like him and Devontae Adams. It's a great thing for the Raiders, but if things ain't gonna go right, then I don't know. I don't know. He's another one that deals with nagging. I mean, it's not getting to the point of Michael Thomas every year, but he was bit dinged up last year. But then he played through a lot of stuff, and this year just hasn't really got out the gate. 14 points. I forgot. I think he scored 14, 13 or 14 in week 2, and then after that it's just been. And then he's missed the last 2 contests or whatever. He's not just hasn't been right. Excuse me. So yeah. So if anything, what I would like to do is most likely at least give you some nice picks or whatever that we can talk about for this weekend. Like I said, I like to do 3 of them, sometimes 4. So we'll just keep it simple. I think the easiest pick is taking Buffalo. But hey, here's the funny thing about those money. Now, against the Jets, I think they can cover minus 11.5. Obviously, it's easy to take the money line, but that shit is minus 620. So, against a Jets defense and that Buffalo defense, if they can turn over, they have a solid run defense. If they could turn over Zach Wilson, that's one of those games that I definitely see Zach throwing an interception and turning over the ball. The question is that game gets really blown over if they get that pick 6. If Zach throws the ball or treats the ball the way he did last week, fading out of bounds and trying to throw it into play, then the Bills defense is definitely going to make them pay. They're going to send pressure at them, and they have the ability to run that back. So if that's a big cover, but I'm not going to lie, it's not my favorite pick. But can it be done against the Jets? Yes. Yes, the Jets have started hot. But like I said, if you remember me last week, this is the beginning of the part where obviously you looked at it from really the Denver schedule. Obviously, Denver is now starting to get it together in a way. But when you looked at it early in the season, it was from the Denver game up to maybe December something where they're at the meat and potatoes of their schedule. This is where it gets hard. So yes, I'm glad that the Jets got their wins because this looks like it's going to be the ugly part of the season, and that's why I believe Buffalo can cover the 11.5. It's a big cover, a very big cover, but I think it can be done. On top of that, another pick that I like at home, is Belichick against a backup QB, no Jonathan Taylor. Solid defense as always. Plus they're at home, so New England minus 255. I like that pick. Can you go giving minus 5.5, going for 115? Yeah, I think you could do that too. When it comes to the spread, my favorite spread pick is minus 4.5. Miami, Chicago. I love that pick. Chicago's defense got even worse by trading 2 of their best young players on that defense, and like I said, that offense is still developing. So it's not an explosive offense. So I don't think if Miami gets up early, that's a offense that can immediately catch up. Making Justin Fields throw is definitely what you want to do instead of having them in a close game and running. So Miami 4.5 is my favorite spread pick out of here. And then on top of that, to help you start your little parlay, I'll give you a 4th pick. And I have Green Bay on the road, minus 205. Going into Detroit against the Lions. And yeah, if there's a get right spot for Green Bay, I definitely like that. They have a spread of minus 3.5, but I like the money line 205. And if I scroll anything here, is there anything else that I really like that really spoke to me when I really looked at it? Nah, not really. So it's pretty much those 4 games. So once again, if you want to go over it, start your parlay. I like New England money line, Buffalo money line, duh. But but obviously minus 620 ain't gonna get you. Like I said, you parlay it. But I like the minus. Like I said, this is the point where I think the Jets are really gonna have a rude awakening, and they better wake up because, like I said, this is the hard part of their schedule. So yes, even though I did say Buffalo money line, I like the minus 11.5 spread for Buffalo. But my favorite spread pick, minus 4.5, Miami Miami on the road against Chicago. That offense is still high powered. That Bears defense is not what it is. Plus, like I said, they just traded away their two best young defensive players. So I'm definitely cool with Tua. Tua in the offense, tuning them up for -4.5. And once again, I like Green Bay -205. Money line on the road against Detroit. So this week, I hope you guys have a good week. It's been a fun week for me a little bit with the hockey and everything. Once again, I had a solid week. Definitely had a nice ROI return, winning over, I think it was like 300 in total with private league and public leagues in general. With some hockey satellites as well. Just trying to progress, getting there. I'm gonna get that one big win in hockey soon. Other than that, everybody have a happy, safe weekend. Enjoy some college football. And most importantly, enjoy the games Sunday. Get your lineups ready. I think I'll be, obviously, I'll throw some entries in the millie, of course. But I think this week I'm going to do a little something different. Obviously, messing with some single entries like I did last time. But I think I'm going to fully enter the 20 max. The 20 max is $2 a pop. So if you fully max enter, that's $40. So I think I'm going to be messing with that's what I'll be on this week. I already got like 3 lineups already set. The next couple of days will be all about football research and all that other stuff and getting myself ready for the slate. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So you guys, I hope you like the news and the updates and everything. So good luck. Check out that value. A lot of value opened up. Like I said, a lot of the big guys got priced up after the booming week last week, but a lot of value opened up. So who knows? You might pick the right value and get the right guy and get the right combination of studs, and hey, that might be you on top of the millie. Other than that, this is Grade A Fantasy. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and hope you like the info. If anything, leave a comment. Feel free to ask a question. Peace out. Be safe.